I'd like to finish up my series on straight bowing or parallel bowing. We're going to introduce a new technique called figure-8 bowing. But first, let's just briefly review what we talked about in the first couple videos. Really quickly, the idea of bowing straight is so that you can have a full sound without a fuzziness that would be created when your bow slides away or towards the bridge. And I told you to just stare at your contact point and watch it and see if it's moving away or towards you. And if it does, you should be able to hear that. It creates a fuzziness. And what you want is a core sound. It will project better. Practice that in the middle and then start to work to bigger and bigger bows, more extreme bows. Okay? Now let's take it a step further. If you watched my videos on tone production, in the most recent ones I talked about actually changing lanes. So say I'd be going parallel to the bridge, pull the bow back and I pulled it in, let the bow slip out towards the fingerboard, and then I'd straighten it out again. And I can use those adjustments to actually change lanes. Now let's talk about those angles. If you become crooked with the bow, okay, the bow is going to want to do something. If I go up bow with the bow in towards my body, you see how crooked I am? It's going to want to pull towards the bridge. If I go down bow with the bow leaning this way, it's going to want to pull towards the bridge. And the opposite would be true also. So let's use that subtle angle and actually see if we can't change what we're doing here. What I want you to do, this is assuming you've already learned how to bow with a reasonably straight bow using the whole thing. Remember though, if you watch great violinists, they almost never look absolutely parallel to the bridge all the time. You will see little circles or motions. It's because our wrists work in circles, our arms, half circle here. Everything is round, okay? So that's all right. We just don't want the bow sliding around every time we change our bow. So what I want you to do, again, let's set it near the tip, pull in a little bit. Now you're going to have a firm enough hand, thumb up, fingers down, that you're not going to let the bow slide towards the bridge. If you pull back severely, it's going to slide for sure. But let's just pull back a little bit. You see that I'm parallel to the bridge there? Now I'm not. But I'm going to hang on to it with my fingers, and I'm going to see if I can't make it stay in one place. Okay, that firmness that I feel allows me to grab the string. And that subtle tension of the bow pulling towards the bridge is actually a good thing, because you can create a really full fat sound that way. If it's trying to pull towards the fingerboard, you know, you're not going to have a quality core sound. You're just going to get a fuzzy sound. But that pulling towards the bridge is really important. This is one of the reasons that we say, well, set your hair so that they're flat and lean the bow just slightly away so that's cutting in. You know, a cellist would do the opposite. If they're holding it like this, they would lean the bow so that the wood is leaning towards their nose, right? The wood is leaning in, but a violinist would lean so the wood is going away from their nose because of the difference here. So what we're trying to do is slightly cut into the string. Now you can use this slight angle on the up bow to grab the string and get a really full sound. And on a down bow, it's the reverse. You slightly go away from parallel, or the bow goes away from your body, just a tiny bit. You go very far, it's gonna jump the bridge. But just the tiniest bit, you're still leaning with the stick away from you, and you watch your contact point and don't let it go. Now you have to learn how to turn the bow around at each end. So we'll start with the up bow, pull it in. When I get to almost the point to turn, you'll notice that I do this slight rotation of the hand. And let's see if you can see this. Opposite. You'll see circles at each end. Now if I come up here, watch my contact point. It's not jumping around, it's grabbing. So I'm actually doing a lot of motion with my bow change, but hopefully still keeping my contact point. Like a laser beam, I have this focused sound. That's what one of my teachers called figure-8 bowing. It's a neat technique, especially on really long notes that you want a full sound and you want to pull the sound out of the instrument. So you can, on an up bow, pull in a little bit and really just pull that sound out. And the opposite is true on the down bow, away from your body. So you can practice that with fairly small bows, figure eights, and then start to work larger and larger. Stare at your contact point. Remember, it's not really about whether your bow is moving parallel to the bridge or not. It's about whether you're staying in the lane you need to be in. Otherwise, your tone quality changes in the middle of a phrase. It's very hard to be musical when your sound is being disrupted by your bow. Okay? So, hopefully that will give you an idea how to take it one more step. Just so you know, I don't do this every time I use long bows by any means, but it becomes automatic, so I don't even think about it anymore. And it's important that you've practiced it outside of the piece, and then you start applying it maybe to a slow etude with whole notes. Okay? Anyway, there's the final installment on bowing straight. Figure eight bowing. Good luck.